Known as Vanderbilt's all-time basketball scoring leader, but now Shan Foster is making a bigger splash in the community as a leader in the push against domestic violence.
Yeah, his journey from the hardwood to helping men and boys become part of the solution surrounding domestic violence is our focus for this week's For Your Community. The city of Nashville has always shown love for the kid from Kenner, Louisiana. Tell me about your time at Vandy and what Nashville gave to you.
Oh, my time at Vanderbilt was amazing. All 4 years, I enjoyed every bit of it. This community really wrapped its arms around me and welcomed me in.
Shan Foster loved that feeling of community as a player. And even now, it's something that lives in his heart.
I've just always been around service, always had a passion for community and for people, and seeing people as valuable, regardless of where they come from, what things that are impacting their lives. I always saw people as valuable.
Foster is now impacting lives as the executive director of A Men Together. It's a primary prevention initiative dedicated to ending violence against women and girls by educating men and boys to be a part of the solution. He got involved 6 years ago after retiring from basketball. He says it was the domestic violence numbers that caught his attention.
1 in 4 women experience domestic violence. Been around great people who value the women in their lives, but yet 1 out of 5 women are sexually assaulted. That doesn't add up.
So Foster is now traveling the city and the country, boots on the ground, talking about domestic violence solutions to men in boardrooms and, more importantly, to young men and boys at camps. And how important is it to catch these young boys when they're still young?
Well, violence is a learned behavior, and the reality is our young people are really following our lead. When I talk about the 1 in 4 women being victims of domestic violence, those are adult numbers. So the kids are following the adults' lead when it comes to this kind of stuff.
In Nashville this year alone, the police data dashboard has seen 6,531 cases of domestic violence, and in those cases, 1,686 kids were present. That's why it's so important for Foster to reach the kids as soon as possible, and it seems the message is getting through.
It was talked about women and just educated me about what they go through. They talked about how women were negatively portrayed. They talked about how women go through all sorts of stuff that I just wasn't educated on.
As a youngster, Foster saw firsthand what domestic violence can do to a child, but says the strong women in his life, his wife, his grandmother, and his mother are his guiding lights for this lifelong mission. So his journey continues. Each one teach one.
People are not born violent. They're not born abusive. They're not born with hatred in their heart. That's something that they learn from the adults that are around them. And so if it can be learned, it can also be unlearned, and it can be taught differently. And that's the work that we're doing.
And it's great work. As a witness to domestic violence and a victim of child abuse by his stepfather, Foster brings a unique perspective to the groups he speaks with. It also helps to explain why he is so passionate about helping domestic violence victims.
That's amazing.